Time travelers haven't heard of a lot, and some of the things they say may seem convincing. But let's get into some of these stories, and you tell me if they sound convincing or completely fake. Don't subscribe just yet. I will earn your subscription by the end of this video, and don't leave a like just yet. Watch the video all the way through, and if you actually like it by the end, make sure to leave a like. It really helps me out to let me know you want to see more just like this. Alright, enough talking. Let's get right into it. Our first story for today was Air Marshal Sir Robert Victor Goddard. This man believes he saw a futuristic plane. Victor would be sent to inspect an abandoned airfield in Edinburgh in 1935. It was dilapidated, of which he made note. He would get back in his plane and take off, but heavy rain and low visibility would prevent him from going too far, and would wait out the storm there. As he approached the landing strip, though, something very strange happened. The clouds cleared, the sun shone brightly, and he would see that the previously abandoned land was now bustling with mechanics in blue jumpsuits. There were 4 yellow planes on the tarmac, and one of them was a kind he had never seen before. Keep in mind, this guy was a military pilot, so that means that he was pretty familiar with all the different planes, like plane models available at the time. Of course, we're going to an abandoned airfield and then being bustling with people as soon as he turned around to land. Goddard was confused. Was he just imagining it? Maybe hallucinating? Or dreaming? It couldn't be real, certainly. After this strange sighting, 4 years would roll by, and he would be sent back to that same airfield. 4 years back, it was abandoned, and now it's bustling with blue jumpsuit wearing mechanics in yellow planes, just like he had saw 4 years back. And the plane that he couldn't identify in 1935 was sitting on the runway, a Miles Magister. The Magister was first manufactured in 1938, 3 years after Goddard initially saw it. This story is weird because he wasn't even trying to travel through time. Something just unexplainable happened to him in mid-air. Tell me what you think. A journalist experiences an air raid 11 years before it even occurs. Journalist J. Bernard Hutton and photographer Joachim Brandt would be sent out by a German newspaper to do a story on the Hamburg shipyard in 1932. It was a very uneventful visit. Bombs would be raining down on them. Hutton and Brandt realized that they had been caught in the middle of an air raid and hightailed it out of there, but not before snapping some photographs. When they got back to the center of Hamburg, no one believed their story. They developed the photos they took, intending to prove to everybody that it was true and that they weren't just crazy. But once the photos developed, there was nothing. There was nothing in the photos. There was no signs of an air raid. 11 years later, after this entire thing, Hutton would be living in London when he received a newspaper, and when he opened this newspaper, he probably spit his copy across his desk when he saw what he read. And what he read was about an air raid on Hamburg called Operation Gomorrah. The accompanying photos looked exactly like what he experienced in 1932. Coming at number 3, 2 professors swear that they saw Marie Antoinette at Versailles. These two professors from St. Hugh's College in Oxford, England, went to visit the Palace of Versailles in 1901. Versailles was the French royal home until the monarchy was abolished in 1792. Marie Antoinette was one of the last royals to live there until she was executed in 1793. So, on that day in 1901, when the professors, also known as Anne Moberly and Eleanor Jourdan, were walking the grounds of the palace, it's safe to say that they were not expecting to see Marie Antoinette in the flesh, just chilling on a stool outside the Petit Trianon by her hubby Louis XVI. And yet, there she was, sitting and sketching and completely oblivious to the fact that there were two women just gaping at her and all of the other people in the 1780s period attire who had appeared just as suddenly as Antoinette. But when a tour guide would approach the two professors, Antoinette and everybody else would disappear. Together they would go on to write a book, an adventure, about their experience, and the story gained notoriety because of how grounded it seemed. These two women were highly educated and well-respected women. They wouldn't just make up a story like that. So, what happened to these women? Did they actually somehow travel through time? What do you think about this? Our fourth story is short, but it's still something I figured I would add. Charlotte Warburton unknowingly seems to travel through time. In 1968, Charlotte would see a cafe that she had never seen before and would walk in, but when she would try to go back a few days later, the cafe was no longer there. Charlotte would later learn that there was, in fact, a cafe in that spot many years ago, though. The cafe that Charlotte had seen was replaced by a supermarket long before Charlotte claimed to have walked in and visited it. His wife would separate from him and go into a bookshop, while he would take off for a CD store down the street. As he was walking away from the bookstore, he would notice that everything was suddenly quiet. Then a van that looked like it was from the 1950s honked and swerved around him. Somehow he was standing in the middle of the street, and stranger than that, everyone around him was dressed in 50s style clothing. Of course, being confused, he would turn and try to go back to the bookstore he had left his wife in, but it wasn't there. Instead, a woman's clothing shop named Cripps was there. When he stepped foot into the supposed shop, it would turn back into a bookstore again. He was back in 1996, but he was just so confused as to what happened to him not 2 seconds before. He would later learn that Cripps had not existed since the 1950s. Story number 6. In the 12th century, a young boy and girl would be found alone in Woolpit, England. They didn't speak English or any other identifiable language, and their skin wasn't natural. Their skin was green. They would then be taken in by a local villager, and though the boy would pass soon after, the girl survived and learned how to speak English and would tell everyone where she came from. She claimed she came from a twilight-covered place called St. Martin's Land, and that she and her brother were taking care of their father's sheep one day when they found a cave. Of course, being curious and being a child, they'd enter the cave, and she'd explain that it felt like they were walking for a very, very long time before they emerged in Woolpit. Maybe this story is just a folk tale, or maybe they came from the future. Unfortunately, they were never able to get back to where they came. Number 7. In 1954, a man trying to get through customs at Kondo Airport in Tokyo, Japan, had a bit of trouble with the customs agents. It wasn't because he just forgot to declare something on his customs form, but because he claimed to be from a country that just didn't exist. He even had a passport and stamps to prove it. His passport was from a country named Tard, which the man claimed was between Spain and France. When custom officials pulled out a map and asked him if he meant Andorra, the man got angry. He said that yes, the location was right, but Tard had existed for at least 1,000 years. He had never even heard of Andorra. After this, the police would give the man a room for the night while they tried to figure out what exactly was going on, even though there were armed guards posted outside his room. The man had supposedly vanished by the next morning. His passport, which had been stored in the security office at the airport, was also missing. Officials never figured out the mystery of the man from Tard. Number 8. A man named Jafar Voren was found in Frankfurt on the Oder, Germany, in 1850 and was questioned. He spoke very broken German, which made his claims even more difficult to understand. He claimed that he was from Lazaria and spoke the languages of Lazarian and Ambramian. He said he was in search of his long-lost brother, but he was shipwrecked on the way to his destination. Warren didn't recognize any of the maps of globes that were presented to this man. He claims that the world as he knew it had 5 sections: Sacria, Aflar, Aslar, Uslar, and Uplar. In the Yearbook of Facts in Science and Art, John Timms reports Voren was taken to Berlin to be questioned and studied. There is no doubt that Voren existed. The question is, was he crazy, or was he from a very distant future? 2 more stories left to go. Number 9. In 1979, Jeff, Pauline Simpson, Lynn, and Cynthia Gibbsby were traveling through France. When it became late, they decided to go look for a hotel for the night. They would find a place not too far down the road they were traveling. It was an odd place, though. The doors to the rooms only had wooden latches, no locks, and the windows only had thick shutters, no glass. In the morning, they would have breakfast at the hotel and encountered 2 gendarmes, armed French policemen if you didn't know, that were wearing old-looking uniforms, complete with capes. The whole experience at the hotel seemed strange, not least because their stay only costed 19 francs. Other hotels in the area cost over 200 francs. Still, they happily went on their way, and on their return journey, they were trying to stop and stay there again. Except the hotel was no longer there. Like, it vanished into thin air. Like, the building just grew legs and walked away. And the uniforms those French policemen were wearing were from around 1905. Our last story for today. Dr. A.G. Moon was leaving the residence of one of his patients in Kent, England, when he realized his car was not where he had left it in 1935. Both the driveway and road seemed a lot rougher than he remembered. Dr. Moon would spot a man walking by the house, and he realized that he was wearing several capes and a top hat along with carrying a long-barreled gun. He looked to Moon like he was from the 19th century, not the 20th. Dr. Moon would turn to go back to the house, but as he did, he saw that the driveway was paved again, and his car was once again parked in it. He turned back towards the road to look for the man, but he was gone. No traces of the man. And that's gonna do it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like. It really helps me out, so let me know you want to see more just like this. And if I earned your subscription, make sure to subscribe. We are literally 3 away from 90 subscribers. Holy crap, dude. Never did I think in a million years I would be at 90, or very close to 90 subscribers. And our goal right now is to hit 100 subscribers before August. This is insane, dude. I truly cannot thank you guys enough for this. Thank you guys so much. It truly means the world to me. Anyway, 100 subscribers before August is our goal. If you want to see more, like behind the scenes or updates, you can go to my Instagram and X. They'll be on screen. They'll also be in the description of the video, along with my sources. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will catch you guys in my next video.